Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verses 11 to 20.
Avajananti mam mudhaha manushim tanumashritam param bhavamajanantah mama bhutamaheshwaram moghasha moghakarmanah moghajnana vichetasah Rakshasi masurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajantyananya manasaha nyatva bhutadim avyayam Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate jnana yajnena chapyanye yajanto mam upasate Ekatvena prithaktvena bahudha vishvato mukham aham kraturaham yajnyaha swadhaham aushadam mantrohamahame ahamagneraham hutam Pitahamasya jagatah Mata dhata pitamaha Vedyam pavitram omkarah Riksamaya jurevacha Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi Nivasa sharanam suhrit Prabhavah pralayasthanam Nidhanam bijamavyayam Tapamyahamaham varsham Nigranyam yutsrajami cha Amritam chaiva mrityuscha Sadasachaham arjuna Traividya mam somapah putapapaha Yajnairishva swargatim prarthayante Te punyamasadya surendra lokam Ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan
we were comparing two types of people, the Mahatmas and the Asuras. This is a often repeated, uh, should I say, example or illustration in the scriptures. We're actually even doing the same concept in the Saturday class. So those who are attending that will see that there is matter, there is spirit. The only difference between the wise and the unwise is where is your attention. The only thing. And as long as our attention is on the higher aspects of life, we are all Mahatmas. And the moment our attention goes to the lower aspects of life, we become the Asuras. What explanation does that even require? Because you've seen it yourself, isn't it? Don't you do Asuric behavior? Don't we all have Asuric behavior when our mind goes towards lower things? And don't we all have Mahatma-like behavior when our minds go to higher things? When we're working for a cause, when we're doing things for people, we are all great Mahatmas. So there's no real difference between the Mahatmas and the Asuras. The only real difference between you and I and everybody in this world is where is my attention right now? We are all Mahatmas. At least all those who are paying attention to the Bhagavad Gita right now. All Mahatmas. Everybody whose mind has gone to something else. Asuras. It could go to so many things. Isn't it? Easy for the mind to go there. So, what is the problem with this Asuric behavior? And how do we reach it? We reach it because we have got moghasha, mogha karmani, mogha jnana, vichetasaha. We have vain hopes. We believe, genuinely believe that by this particular thing happening, my life is going to be superb. Just this thing has to happen. And we are vichetasa. Vichetasa means no brains. How many times in our life will we think like that? Didn't you feel like that just before your exams? Didn't you feel like that just before college admission? Didn't you feel like that before getting a job? How foolish are we that we cannot look back on our own experiences and say, how many times? What Wordsworth says this very beautifully in his poem, Ode to Duty. O duty, stern daughter of the voice of God. He talks to duty, beautiful poem, where he says this line, my hopes must no more change their names. The same concept, vain hopes. And out of those vain hopes, what does it mean? What does it mean that it's a vain hope? What does it mean that it's in vain?
You are not seeing the things for the way they are.
True, but what does it mean that it is in vain? So therefore what? What is the consequence?
It not lasting. Not lasting.
It's of no use. Of no use, exactly that's.
Not lasting.
It's not going to happen the way you think it's going to happen. That is why that hope is in vain. You're running to the mirage in the hope of getting water. You're not going to get it. That's what's in vain about it. That's what's ignorant about it. If you had a hope of getting water and you went to a well, well, you'll get your water. But you're running towards a mirage. Moghasha, mogha karmani. The asha is in vain and the karma is also in vain. Naturally, because you're running at top speed towards a mirage in the hope you're going to get water, you'll die of starvation, you won't get that water. There's no water there. That's what that is what is knowledge. And then can you imagine this person is running to the mirage in the hope of finding water, and then he reaches there and he finds no water, and then what does he do? He screams, he yells, he gets so angry, he gets so upset, he gets so dejected. That's asuric behavior. When will we get this? My behavior has become asuric. We can all recognize that, right? When we are behaving badly, we all know that. So we have to work our way backwards. How did my behavior become so bad? Because I had some stupid action that I've just performed. If I didn't perform that stupid action, my behavior would not be become all this stuff. Okay, so why did I perform that stupid action? Because I had a stupid hope. Moghasha, mogha karmani, mogha jnana. The jnana is stupid. Collected useless knowledge. Oh, there's a mirage there, you know. What use is that stupid knowledge? There is a snake over there, I know. Stupid knowledge. It's not knowledge. Vichetasaha. No intellect functioning whatsoever. And therefore, asuric. This part, I hope, is easy to understand because we should be able to see ourselves doing it, others doing it. Very easy to see this. The second part is slightly more difficult. The Mahatmas. Daivim Prakriti. Of the nature, divine nature. What is that? What is the divine nature? Just that your thoughts are ungiven it. That's the divine nature. That's it. You know, they say Bhagavad Gita is very difficult. What is difficult in it is impossible to understand. And just simple basic truths of life. If you get it, life is also simple. If you don't get it, the amount of complications we human beings are capable of generating is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So what do these Mahatmas do? Bhajanti ananya manasah. With an unswerving mind. Anya means others. Ananya, no other. That means, what is the difference between a Mahatma and us? The Mahatma is able to maintain the thought of the higher Ananya. It doesn't shift. Our Mahatmaness shifts. Okay, Sunday morning we are great Mahatmas. And then by the time it's afternoon, we've reverted. So that capacity to keep to the higher thought. Keep to it all the time. And how do they know it? They have known me to be the Bhutadi, known me to the Bhuta Adi, the source of beings, the first of beings. Meaning most important, right? Where everything is coming from, the creation, the font of everything. And Avyayam, imperishable, that which will never change. For those who attended yesterday's class, can you tell me what are these two words supposed to express in one word? This is your yesterday's class exam. One word.
Value.
Very good, Aditi. Excellent. I hope you all got that too. It's only giving you value because the whole problem with this thing is we don't have any value for it. No value for it. And therefore all the problem arises. Otherwise, just think about it, right? In your own experience, whenever you have thought of the higher, have you not felt good? If you went to a bhajan or you went to a class or you did service, did you not feel good? Did you not get instant pleasure out of it? Then why don't you maintain it? Why do you let the mind come back to its own pettiness? Why don't we maintain it? What happened?
We don't value it
No
enough.
value for it.
Value. Like, why don't we get the value for it? It is like, why? Why would you not? It gives you instant pleasure. It gives you long-term pleasure. It gives you medium time pleasure. then why don't we get the value for it? What is it that pulls us down? It is just vichetasaha, no brains only. What have you to lose? And yet, won't do it. We find excuses why we can't do it. And we're genuinely concerned. We are convinced with our excuses. I have no time. I have to earn a living. I have to brush my teeth. Hello, yeah. What kind of excuse is that? I can't study. I have to brush my teeth. I can't study. I have to earn money. Same thing. No difference between these two. I can't study. I have to do my exercises. It's like saying I can't go to work. I have to talk to my wife. No, isn't it? Should I not be talking to my wife? How can I go to work then? And you have to talk to your wife also. You have to go to work also. You have to brush your teeth also. You have to exercise also. You do the whole thing. You can't be living life. Okay, now 25 years I will go to work. Then 25 years I will talk to my wife. Then 25 years I will do exercise. Did you live life like that? Do the whole thing. Everything has to be done. You have to talk to your relations also, you have to talk to your spouse also, you have to look after your children, you have to go to work, you have to look after your own body, you have to drink water, you have to sleep. Everything. Sabhi karna padta hai bhaiya. Ye zindagi aisi hai. They'll say, where am I going to find time to do this? Samuel Johnson answers that question beautifully. You know what was his response? Anybody is aware? Where are all my English literature students? What was Samuel Johnson's response? He gave this famous example. He says, to find no time is like a man saying there is no place on this earth for agriculture. 70% of this earth, 75% of the earth is water. How can I do any agriculture there? Okay, then another 10% is taken up by mountains and whatnot, and the other 15% is taken up by mountains and marshy lands and deserts and all of that. Then some of it is taken up by forests and cities and all of that. And then some of it the government has kept and not letting us touch that land. You tell me, is there place to do agriculture? What do you mean, is there place? How are we all living if people are not doing agriculture? So, this kind of logic we have. Where do I have time to study? You don't have 15 minutes to open your books and study. What on earth are you doing with your time? Even if Mukesh Ambani says, I have no time to study, the answer is still the same. And I believe you are not Mukesh Ambani. If you are Mukesh Ambani, then please help us get some land to start the Vedanta college we are looking forward to. But if you're not in his category, then don't tell me that you have no time to study. That makes sense. So how to become that Mahatma is to do what it takes to become. How do you maintain? Become the Mahatma means what? We are not going to grow beards and put on I don't know, whatever those things they put over here and wear rocker robes. That's not a Mahatma. Mahatma is differentiated from us in only one thing. What is that one thing?
Attention.
Thinking.
Attention to the higher.
Start.
Unswerving.
Very good. But you all put it all together. Everybody gave part of the answer. Somebody give me the full answer.
Unswerving mind.
Full
Attitude.
answer.
Unswerving attention to the higher.
Very good, Kalyan Kumar. Unswerving attention on the higher. We are also Mahatmas. We are all baby Mahatmas. Chote Mahatmas sab hai. Why are we chote Mahatma? Because wavering attention. Aata hai, jata hai, aata hai, jata hai. So keep it there and you are a full scale Mahatma. You are proper Mahatma. As it wavers, Mahatma Giri thodi kam ho rahi hai. So, Ananya Manas. There is a very beautiful example in the scriptures which you should listen to now, because then you will understand the next few verses beautifully, which explains this difference. Okay, there is a story. There was an old king, and since he had no heirs, there were no successors to the throne, he put out a proclamation. He said that there are no heirs to my throne, so whoever finds me will become the king after me. And I am going to be at this exhibition. So anyone who finds me at the exhibition, he will become king. And then the huge exhibition grounds were set up. Fantastic things were there in that. And all the people of the land came rushing to the exhibition, because if they could find the king over there, then actually they are the next king. So they all came. They quickly bought tickets and walked into the exhibition. And right there at the door was a stall, Rolex watches. So some people said, wow, Rolex watches, chalo dekhte hai Rolex watches. And little further there were some Mercedes cars. Mercedes? Wow, chalo ye dekhte hai. And then there were some jewelry stores. There was, what was that? Tiffany's and whatever. And that Hermes. And everybody was like, oh wow, dekho kitne achhe cheeze hain. And some people are not interested. But then there was vada pav and chaat and pani puri. And then some people went off to eat some stuff. And some people said, I don't want this. And a little further ahead, there was best cuisine from across the world, things that people had never seen. Wow, ye dekho kya hai. And everybody got involved. And my entire Sunday class was also there. And they were not involved in any of this. But then they saw there were nice Bhagavad Gita lectures going on. So they sat down there. So, chalo, ye acha hai. They sat down there. But there was one young boy who was not enamored of anything. He was the only one who remembered what he had come to that exhibition for. And he wandered all over, not interested. Nothing has caught his attention. He's only looking for the king. And he walked and wandered in that whole day. His legs were tired. He would not give up. It was twilight and he was fed up. And he thought, now, this he just pulled a fast one on us. I have looked at every single person. I have done nothing else. I have only sought the king. He was nowhere here. And in dejection, he sat down at the feet of some structure. Okay, there were some steps. There's a permanent structure there, a small temple. He sat down there. He didn't know what to do. And then he could hear the sound of the arati. The priest had come and he had started doing the arati. And he looked up to that sound. And then he looked at the priest and he said, turn around, my friend. Even over there, all he was interested in is seeing the face of every single person. And lo and behold, that was the king. And he found the king and he became the king. Now, what is the difference between the people who all came to the exhibition for the purpose of finding the king and this one boy? If you can clinch that, you understood all our spirituality. There's nothing more to it. It's that simple. The boy's attention never wavered. He knew exactly what he was doing. Now, can you tell me why his attention never wavered? One word, okay? Just one word.
Fixed goal.
Focus. He's focused on.
Value.
Higher goal. He knew he was looking for the king.
Value. He understood the value.
Value.
What foolish
Higher
people
goal.
who stop value. What foolish people who stop for a Rolex, a Mercedes, and the cuisines of the world. Are you all also hearing the sound? Okay, what on earth was that?
There's an
Yes, we're all here. I mean, I'm
all
hearing.
hearing it.
Okay. He understood the value. Can you imagine the stupid people who stop by for a Rolex and a Mercedes?
You the value of
You become the king. Won't you have all these things? What are you stopping for things that are going to be a byproduct? Won't you get every cuisine of the world? If you were the king, what are you stopping for byproducts? These are byproducts. Don't get involved. Everything in this world is a byproduct. Enjoy it as a byproduct. Enjoy your Merc, enjoy your Rolex, enjoy your whatever it is in the world you have. These are all byproducts. Do you think of somebody like Ambani? Do you think he went out in the hope of getting a Mercedes? Would he have thought like that? He never thought, I want to get a Mercedes. Mercedes was just something that came to him along the way. Do you think Azim Premji thought, I want to have Mercedes? No. These are just things that come to you because you did something. Do that thing. Forget about the Mercedes. The Mercedes will come. Do that thing. Whatever that thing according to you is the most valuable thing. You don't have to think about byproducts. Think of the main thing. When the main thing comes, everything else will be added on to you, as Christ said. Seek thou the kingdom of heaven. First you seek that, and everything will be added on to you. Don't worry about the rest of it. Imagine you become the Lord of the universe. You're saying, I want to have this nice desk. Do you get what you're saying? Lord of the universe. And say, oh, this was a nice table. I want this one. कुछ समझ में नहीं आता क्या? So once we understand the value, you want to give up the search for the king. So the only difference between the boy and the rest is the boy understood the value of what he was pursuing, and the others didn't. They all came to find the king one day, but they lost the plot and therefore lost kingship. Okay, now if you can hold on to that example, now you go to verse 14 and read the various characteristics which we started. Satatam. This is where we stopped last time. Satatam. Always. Clear, right? No further explanation is required. Did he do anything?
I have one question. Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead, Ganesh.
Higher goal, would it be different for different folks, or is it same, or depends where you are, you look at a higher goal, right? Each person are in a different part. So we choose a higher goal based on our capability, competency, state of life, right?
Yes.
So it has to keep moving once you achieve that.
Yes.
So we can't have one. So that will be challenging, right? Every time to look at a higher one.
How sweet is that? You're talking as if every day you're achieving higher goals, so now you're ready for the next one. No, it will take time to achieve whatever you fix now. Take you maybe a few years, and then of course you'll have to raise it. Suppose you're running a business and your goal was to have turnover of, I don't know what, 5 crores. Then it take you a few years to reach 5 crores, and then once you reach it, or you're like at 4 crores, then you have to now jump up to 10, right? But it's not like every day you're changing your higher goal. Your higher goal will stay there until you are within touching distance.
Okay. And you have to choose one, a compelling one.
Yes, whatever according to you is the most valuable thing you could work towards.
Okay, thank you.
Always remember that the word being used is higher. By simple grammar, you will know this. Higher is a dash term. Please fill in the blanks. Higher is a dash term.
Relative.
Grammar.
Relative term.
Comparative.
Comparative term. Relative is of course correct, but you said grammar, no? So then you have to say comparative. Please pay attention. Higher is a comparative term. There is high, there is higher, and there is highest. Higher means compared to something. And what are you comparing it to? Where you are. Higher from where you are. There's something here. Yes, correct. Okay, comparative. I better keep the chat open. Okay, the comparative term. Akhila is our English professor, so obviously she has to know. Okay, Satatam. The boy remembered constantly the king. Kirtayantaha. Glorifying. He's only glorifying one pursuit in his mind. No, he doesn't glorify anything else. He doesn't say, my children have come, I have to spend time with them. He's like saying, I have to brush my teeth. Obviously, you have to spend time with your children. You had them. You chose to have them. Now you handle what you have created. But the fact remains that can't shift your attention. That means, what does that mean? That means, why am I saying? You tell me, what does it mean? Can you tell me what that means? Don't shift your attention means what?
Focus.
That's another word for attention.
Don't
What
get
does it mean? Don't
distracted.
shift your attention.
Don't get distracted.
Okay, so what does that mean? What does it mean in real life? Like, what do you mean? Don't shift your attention means what? Now I'm brushing my teeth. I have to say God, God. I'm talking to my children. I have to say God, God.
Very firm.
What does that mean in real life?
Don't change your goals.
in mind. Committed. Committed.
See how all your actions are working towards meeting that purpose.
Very good. Yes, Ashia. Very good. Ashia Kalyan Kumar. Very good. You please understand the connection between what you're doing and where you're trying to reach. So now, my children have come. Okay. Don't say full-time responsive awareness of truth and all that. We all know that. But the problem is we're not converting it into a real life thing for ourselves. So when I say I will not shift my attention from God or from my higher goal, what is that supposed to really mean? Okay, now my children have come. So what is the connection between my children and the higher goal? That you must know. Why am I talking to them? How is it connected to my higher goal? If you don't know the answer to this question, then please find out. Let us say, for argument's sake. No, obligatory duties means you know the connection between this and that. I'm asking you, what is the connection between talking to your children and your goal? So let us say your goal is realization or your goal is self-purification, whatever. Let's take self-purification because that's always easier. Now my children have come. If my goal is self-purification and my children have come, how is it different from a person who doesn't have that goal and that person's children have come? How does this person who has the goal maintain awareness of their goal?
Sense of service. Sense of service. What can I do for you?
Yes, in the sense that, correct, sense of service. In the sense that now my children have come, what is it that they want, not what is it that I want?
Selflessness.
Sorry?
Selflessness.
Yeah, because what will selfless, I mean, saying these words is always easy. It is converting them into a real life that is the issue over here. Because now most of you have been there long enough to sort of know the the right words, and you all are right, of course, no doubt about it, but you must be able to convert it to real life. Otherwise, in class, everybody knows every answer, and then real life continues on its own track, and class continues on its own track. So now I'm dealing with somebody. So what is my purpose in that dealing? If it is self-purification, that means my attention is still on my goal. If my purpose changes to something else, oh, I want to feel nice with this person, now my attention is shifted. Is that clear? So don't shift the attention. Keep it on your goal no matter what you're doing. Whether you're playing badminton, or you're with your children, or you've gone out for a meal, or whatever in the world. You're dealing with your staff, you're at office, you are working in Karma Yoga. You come to Karma Yoga also. So many people come to Karma Yoga actually serving. So many of you are serving the cause. You are doing so much. I mean, so many volunteers nowadays. Amazing. I think there are like, what, around 40 volunteers working. A fantastic thing. But good as that is the attention still on the purpose? Mere good acts are not good enough. Not in spirituality. Don't shift the attention. Whether you're doing good or bad, don't shift the attention. And that is the famous story of, you know who? There's a very, very famous story. Are you all aware of it? The famous story is that there was Vishnu was sleeping and he had two guards, Jai and Vijay. And some great luminaries came to visit Vishnu. So Jai, Vijay, their duty was to let the master sleep, right? That's the duty of the guard. Whatever the master is doing, they were not supposed to interfere and not supposed to disturb him. That's the role. So these great luminaries, I think it was Sanat Kumars, they came and said, we want to meet Vishnu. Or was it the Saptarishi? Somebody came about. Okay, and they came and I want to meet Vishnu. And they said, sorry, our master is asleep, you can't go in. And they said, you know who we are? How dare you say we cannot go in? And they said, maybe whoever you are, but you can't go in, my master is asleep. They said, how dare you talk to us like that? We curse you to go to earth and be on earth forever. So then Jai Vijay got very frightened. And then Vishnu arrived on the scene. Because why were they frightened? What caused fear? Why were they unhappy with that curse? That they were being sent to Mrityu Loka.
They'll be away
They
from
can't
Vishnu.
guard from Vishnu.
They'll be away from Vishnu. That was their concern, right? So they got very frightened and they fell at Vishnu's feet and they said, we have been cursed to go to earth. And Vishnu said, look, I can't do anything about this curse. To earth you must go. But I can do one thing for you. I can modify this curse. Okay, so you can go to earth and live 100 lives there as a great bhakta of the Lord, or you can go to earth as a great enemy of the Lord, 3 lives. 100 lives as a bhakta of the Lord versus 3 lives as an enemy of the Lord. So they quickly chose, they had no debate in their minds whatsoever, and they said 3 lives as a hater of God. Why? Because in 3 lives is shorter than 100 lives, right? So they want to get back to God. They are not interested in what I love him or hate him. Get back to God. And that's the rest of the story most of you must know is they came down to earth as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyakashipa and Kamsa and Chanura and Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Haters of God. But think of these people who hated God. Their minds never shifted from God. So it never matters whether you are good or bad. Don't move your attention. That's the moral of the story. Whatever happens, Don't move your attention. Keep it on whatever it is you want. And that's the way of the achiever. No achiever moves his attention. If you want to be an achiever in your path, do not move your attention. Shilpa Kumar. Shilpa Kumar. Okay. In practical terms, how do you deal with your children with this higher purpose at the back of your mind? Shilpa, how you deal with something always depends on what that situation is. Okay, same question. All right. How you deal with a situation, Shilpa, is based on what that situation is. Your child is behaving in a particular manner. You must take cognizance of that behavior. Why is that behavior coming about? First, you seek to understand what is going on over here, and then stop and think about it, and then come up with some kind of solution of what you want to do. All of it is with the intent of, can I do this better? If I'm creating some situation or there is a situation in front of me, how do I handle it better? Because if I'm doing it for my self-purification, I don't have the luxury of shouting and screaming and saying, why are you not listening to me? The first question I have is, what is it you are saying? Am I understanding this thing from your point of view? Okay, it's very easy for us to be judgmental of other people, our children, our spouses, all that's easy. But to step back and say, okay, let me understand this from your point of view. Everybody stands in a certain position and therefore sees the world in that way. I don't know, Shilpa, if you're attending Thursday class, but we covered it there. You are in a certain position. You're standing in a particular place. When you're standing in that place, the world will appear to you like that. Okay. A mother-in-law will look at things in a particular way. A daughter-in-law will look at things in a particular way. A mother will look at it in a particular way. The child will look at it in a particular way. It is because of that position. Am I able to take myself out of my ego and place myself in your position? That doesn't mean I agree with your position. That doesn't mean I accept your position. It only means I understand your position. Having understood your position, I will now decide what I want to do about it. Then I respond. All this hard work is part of the self-purification process. Is that okay, Shilpa?
Yeah, thank you, Janki.
Okay. So now coming back to our king. King is being sought in that exhibition. How satatam. He doesn't ever forget. Kirtayantaha. In his mind, it is glorified. Always glorifying it. Always talking of, it's not talking as in with your lips, but always knowing the value of what you're doing. Mam yatantascha dridhavrataha. And therefore always striving. So if you look at this verse technically, it is the parts of karma and bhakti. He's glorifying it. His mind is glorifying it because his mind has understood the value. That's called bhakti. And therefore he's working towards it. That is called karma. Drudhavrataha. With a firm vow. It sounds like, oh, what firm vow? You don't need any firm vow if you understood the value. Your mind will not shift. Imagine that. Suppose a mother is looking after her very sick child, and that's a crucial time for the child's survival. And it's night time, and the doctor has told the mother that please look after the child tonight because it's the most difficult night. And if he survives tonight, he'll be fine tomorrow. He will grow. But if anything happens to him tonight, then then we have no hope. What do you think that mother will do? Will she sleep? No, right? But why won't she sleep? She's understood the value. She cannot sleep. Not that she won't sleep. She cannot sleep. She understood the value. Remember that example of that brain surgery and the pencil. You understand the value. There is the question of your mind shifting. So to others, it appears like Drudha Vrataha, firm in vow. Not firm in vow. I mean, it is firm in vow, of course. It will not move. You understood something. You understood something that other people have not understood. And therefore, they now look at you and they say, oh my God, look at the capacity of this person for tapas or for anything, whatever they look at you and say. Namasyantasya. They do namaste, they prostrate. Bhaktya, with devotion. Nitya yukta upasate. Ever permanent in their upasana. Upasana is upa asana. Sitting below. You sit below the teacher. You do upasana. Sit there. That's why you look up, you sit down, you look up. That's all, everything. Concentration, devotion, attention, everything. Which is different from let me put my video off and do some other things while the class is going on. Different, no? All depends on where is your attention. Right now, where is the attention? It could even now be on whether I'm enjoying the class or I'm not enjoying the class. Many people say, oh, so-and-so speaks very well. What difference does it make whether somebody speaks well or speaks badly? If you're a good student, you have only one question in the class, in terms of the class, and that is, now be careful, okay, because you're going to be exposed. If you are a good student, you have only one question, and that is,
What's the value that I'm going to get from the class?
by getting up.
Is it of value to me?
How will I reach my
Can
goal?
I improve? How can I learn?
Yes, is this taking me to my goal? Is this taking me to my goal? If it is taking you to your goal, please, then you will attend the class. If it is not taking you to your goal, then why waste your time? What is it you wish to achieve? And is this taking you there? Only question. If you know the answer to that question, then you're a good student. If you don't know the answer to the question, then you're a spiritual tourist. चलो ये भी सुनते हैं, वो भी सुनते हैं, सब अच्छी बातें हैं, अच्छा लगता है, अच्छी बातें कानों से गुजरती है. All this stuff goes on. Not that there's anything wrong in it. If you want to just listen to some good thoughts, fine. That's why in tradition, the students are graded A, B, C. The Shikshaka, the Antavasinaha, the Sadhakaha, they're graded. And actually, books are written for different levels of students. It's a very organized system. In our country, though you may not believe this, it was all so organized. Everything was organized. If you look at its current state of this general chaos, and look at its own culture, its own roots, the degree of organization of the knowledge is something phenomenal. Like, how did they do this? So they graded the students. And they made sure that the student got what that student required. Because different students require different things. You require stories because you're not capable of understanding, then stories for you. If you're capable of understanding, a different type of text for you. Different things for different people. And therefore you have this ocean of literature, all well organized. For whom is this particular thing written? And the author will tell you in the beginning, for whom is this book written? An incredible thing it is. Okay, so verse 14 clear. All you have to do is write down the example. the king in the exhibition. If you get this much, you understand 14. And of course, you should also know what it means. So therefore, the 14th verse refers to karma and bhakti, and the 15th verse refers to jnana.
Jankiji,
Yeah, correct.
sorry, one question. Going back to the story example, most of the people lost in pleasant sights are actually having a good time of it. Unlike most of us who are having a wretched time of it, yet our focus doesn't shift. So, what explains this?
Moghasha mogha karmani. The hope is not dying. The thing is, no matter how much you are tortured in your relationship, the hope doesn't die that the relationship will one day give you pleasure. No matter how much you are tortured in your pursuit of wealth, the hope doesn't die that the wealth will one day give you pleasure. And so to all things. In fact, Bharat, as a matter of fact, it is better to be tortured in these things than to find satisfaction in them. Because if you're tortured in them, there's some chance that kuch kabhi to samajh aayegi. But as you get to higher pursuits, to intellectual pursuits, to higher ideals, the job gets worse. Because now nothing is torturing you. You're absolutely comfortable. People who are studying and are involved in studying, people who have relationships, because they are themselves purer people, so they have very satisfying relationships, very good comprehension of knowledge. They are in a worse position because there is nothing in the world that will convince them that they are in a bad position. So, so in the story form, they tell it like this: that Krishna said to Draupadi, "You're so beloved of me. Ask me for any boon." And you know which is the boon she asked?
I want sorrow.
Give me trouble always.
Always sorrow.
Kunti asked.
Kunti, sorry, Kunti. Kunti was his aunt and very beloved. So therefore, he said, "Sorry, please don't take my word for all the stories. I tend to remember just the moral of the story, and all these characters seem to disappear from my mind. So please read Amar Chitra Kathas to know the actual story. Don't take my version of the story. I tend to take a little liberty with it." So imagine that.
Sorry, can you just repeat what she asked for? I didn't hear what Kunti asked for.
Sorrow. Always give me sorrow. Always give me sorrow. And so her life was always sorrow ridden. So give me sorrow so that I may never forgive you. It is just please. So therefore, please, all of y'all do not ask for sorrow. Let us all hope to be happy. We should always have shubh thoughts and say we want to be happy, we want to be prosperous, we want to do well, we want every aspect of our life to be comfortable and wonderful. Please don't say I want sorrow, I want sorrow. It will come to you. I mean, even if you don't say it will come to you, so please don't say it and invite anymore. We have to be happy and comfortable. All I'm drawing your attention to is life gets more difficult when you are happy and comfortable. We studied that, remember, in chapter 18, no, not chapter 17, he said, that which holds you in sattva is knowledge and happiness. It is the bondage of sattva.
Jankiji, in fact, I was going to ask you the same question. Is it the concept similar to the Krama Mukti concept? Where you're happy, or I'm getting it wrong, the place where you're happy for a very long period of time?
Yeah, it is not the same in this. I mean, it is the same only insofar as you are happy and not working. Insofar as that is concerned, but the concept is different because that concept is talking about more causes than effects. Okay, so don't bring that in at the moment. This is just, you can continue to operate even when you're happy and doing the right thing, right? You don't have to wait for sorrow. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोई, जो सुख में सुमिरन करे, दुख का एक को होय. Captain Mehta, you want to ask something?
Yes. I want to ask a question. It's same thing about unwavering goal and the children coming home. You gave an explanation, but somehow it went over the top. And can I ask you, how do I maintain unwavering attention when children come home? Because that's something very practical. Or may children or any near and dear ones come, or you meet someone. So, could you
always think in terms, okay, first you must identify what is your goal. Since we don't know that, I'm superimposing a goal on you, self-purification. So when you're transacting with anybody near and dear, always transact from the perspective of what can I say or do that will help in my self-purification. So with human beings, the most difficult thing we find to deal with other human beings is allowing them to fulfill their desires. We always want to use them as a method or means to fulfill our desires. So taking a step back and saying, I want to support you in whatever you wish to do, rather than you support me in what I want to do. You see, so when you change that perspective, then you're working on self-purification when you're dealing with any other human being.
Okay, I'm rather showing compassion to them. You will do what they would. You'd help them to do what they want.
Yeah, it's not compassion, because compassion assumes a higher position. This is a lower position. I'm willing to serve you. I'm willing to see things from your point of view.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
There is a saying, it is better to be Socrates dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. Okay, except that Socrates is not dissatisfied. That's the whole issue here. The problem is Socrates, poor fellow, doesn't get dissatisfied, so he sits down and relaxes. This is what happens. This is the most dangerous part. When everything becomes comfortable, when everything is the way you want it to be, if you have clarity, everything in your life will be the way you want it to be. And if you have growth, when it moves from that, you're still okay. So it's a frightening state to be in terms of development. So it's nice to have people who irritate you, too much work, all that. Good, it keeps your feet on the ground. If you're overworked, it's good for you because it keeps your feet on the ground. Otherwise, you'll be so happy with life. We don't want too much happiness. I mean, we want to be happy. Please be careful in your comprehension, but work more. Work more. So that will be enough to give you the impetus to go forward. But as you take on more and more work and more work, you will find that it's a strain. Obviously, you're picking up more than you can handle. So it's a strain. That strain reminds you, long journey ahead. So that's how you keep going even in growth. If you remember chapter 6, he said, it is the purifier of the wise. Karma is the purifier of the wise, which is strange because karma is the purifier of the unwise, right? But he said karma is the purifier of the wise. So we keep taking on more so that there's no complacency there. So verse 15 was about Jnana Yajna. Superb composition to talk about Jnana Yajna. Yajna means cooperative endeavor, right? The highest form of cooperative endeavor is obviously sharing of knowledge. Why does humanity progress? It's because we're capable of sharing knowledge. We're capable of communicating knowledge to one another. If I know something, I can tell you. And if you know something, you can tell me. And we can both prosper and we can both do well. So that's why even when we do karma yoga, we do collaborate, right? Because let's say our marketing expert is Omkar. He knows all about marketing. But he doesn't know maybe about Facebook promotion. So then Mahesh does a Facebook promotion. Mahesh cannot do what Omkar does, and Omkar cannot do what Mahesh does, and neither of them can do what Devika does, which is something else. God alone knows what it is, something else she does. But all of them together do something, and then this whole thing moves forward. Similarly, each one of us brings to the table certain talents. And we can pool these talents, that's called cooperation. We can do this together. But when we can do this at the intellectual level, the growth is much faster. Jnana yajna. Our capacity to cooperate at the knowledge level. It's a beautiful thing. So there's so many interpretations of this Jnana yajna, but we will do them next time. Okay.